Now, it's a puzzle, it's a riddle, it's an enigma. The baffling, confusing state of river state politics, intricate enough to be perplexing, or perhaps it is made purposely perplexing as a test. The reasons, for instance, for the intractable behavior towards each other of the governor of River State, Sim Fubara, and the minister of the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja, Nyesom Wike, remains a puzzle. It's as if they intentionally want to foreclose any chance of solving whatever issues they've got by obscuring it to a point where it is suffused with mysteriousness. In other words, it is an enigma. And what is perhaps more baffling is the people who line up to support and make a case for one side that seems unjustifiably absurd. And that's just one side of River State politics, the PDP side. And then there's the APC, with its own deepening quarrelsomeness between one court-reinstated state chairman and another caretaker chairman who insists that he won't relinquish his caretaker position. So what do the sober, more measured political voices in River State make of all that? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the businessman Tonye, who was the APC governorship candidate in River State in the 2023 election. And I might add, one of the more sober voices. one of the most sober voices from that part of the world.
Interesting dynamics in Rivers.
Indeed. And that's what we're hoping you can help us understand a little bit better. Okay. Because to those of us on the outside, River State seems like an intractable political quagmire. You are on the inside. What does it seem like to you?
You know, River State, anything that can happen, that would happen wrong, has happened in River State. And as a result of that, the onus falls on some of us to maintain a balance and give hope to many other people that something good can still come out of it, because a lot of it is senseless. You have a PDP that is an APC, you have an APC that is a PDP, and it's a running joke. Which party is really in charge of River State? Is it APC, PDP, is it PDP, APC, is it APC or PDP? You know, it's seriously confusing. And for political...
So which party are you in?
No, I'm in APC.
I know you're in APC, but then APC, according to you, is in bed with the PDP. Yeah, so which ones, I mean, how do you discern which party you're in?
No, that's simple. I have I'm a card-carrying member of APC, end of story. But there are people who are card-carrying members of PDP who claim to be APC. There are those who were kicked out of the house, or they left their house saying that they were PDP, and then they resigned, and now they say that they're APC. I think we need to go back to first looking at the register and deciding who is really APC and who is PDP.
Yeah, but why aren't you guys doing that? You're saying you need to go back.
No, you will have to. And so as a result of that, the first thing that needed to be done is that the court had to resolve exactly who is in charge of the party in River State. Because you had a caretaker committee that came up, and as far as we were concerned, that caretaker committee was completely illegal. And you've gotten into a point of impunity within politics, and I believe that has to come to an end. We cannot have a political environment where impunity is the first rule of law, and then the rule of law is just an appendage to impunity. It can't continue.
So where do you stand in the simmering feud between Governor Sim Fubara and Minister Nyesom Wike?
I stand on Tonye Cole's side. It's true. You know,
that's a brilliant. That's the best I've heard in a long time.
But sincerely, that's where we stand. At the end of the day, everybody has to show what they stand for. And really, I've stood for something that we can bring to River State politics that is different. It's different from the guns, different from the violence, different from the intimidation, different from the shouting. And let's just get to how can we make River State stand out as one of the best places to not just invest, but also to live.
Yeah, but you can't make River State stand out if you don't fix that problem.
So that's why we're there. Yeah. The whole reason of my coming into politics was to fix the problem of River State. River State was a problem, continues to be a problem, and that problem must be solved.
But why is it so? I mean, you make the point that it is a problem, and obviously the first thing, I mean, what you do in solving a problem is to identify that there is a problem, which you're clearly doing. But why is it so intractable? Why is it such an unending, incendiary political state?
You know, River State has always been one word. First, River State is a very important state in the dynamics of Nigeria.
Absolutely.
River State has always been in the center of political dynamics in Nigeria, both within the state and at the federal level. So you found over time, right from when we had His Excellency Peter Odili all the way till today, that every governor in River State is courted, brought in, spoken to, pleaded with to join some form of national politics. And so you've found that aspect of it. Now, because of, one, the political dynamics that River State plays, the money that River State has, the economy of River State, and the way it plays within the sector in the South-South region, people's interests are there. With that kind of focus, you need some very level-headed people who will sit back and say, you know what, it's not just about what you can get from us, but what we can also negotiate moving forward for the people. I don't think that has happened.
So do you think that is what is at the heart of the feud between Nyesom Wike and Governor Sim Fubara? And would you have been able to avoid it if you had become governor? I mean, I'm wondering if you had a godfather yourself.
No, you know, okay, so let's start. Very interesting question. So the feud between Governor Sim Fubara and Nyesom Wike, I think it's playing out for all to see. His Excellency Nyesom Wike stated very clearly that he did everything. He bought the forms, he filled the forms, he determined exactly who will be there, that without him, Sim Fubara would never have been governor. So he did everything and Sim did absolutely nothing. And then felt that there was a total betrayal of that patronage. And so why should that be? But then, if there's something I've learned, both from my spiritual understanding of life to life itself, you can, even your own child, you cannot put that type of control on that child without the child coming back to revolt. And so we've seen, for whatever reason, a pushback, a revolt, and His Excellency did not seem to take it very, or which of the Excellencies, so Nyesom Wike did not seem to take it very well. And so there's been that break. Whatever agreement they had, only they can tell. But that, obviously, is a problem.
But you are one of the more respected voices, very measured, very sober voices in River State. How would you go about solving that problem?
You know, first of all, everybody has a place. And I think this is where we need to begin to understand that, first, let's take Sim Fubara. The place that he has today is that he's the governor of the state. Nothing you can do about that. So he's the governor. Allow him to govern. Now you decide if you want to be in opposition, and opposition has a place. Opposition corrects, it points out, and it says, this is not going well. So some people stay in opposition and then they correct. And if you are an ex-governor, if I were Nyesom Wike, as an ex-governor, what I would be doing for Sim Fubara, regardless of whatever differences we had, is that I would be pointing out and guiding, because you are first a PDP person, the governor there is PDP, and so you would like PDP to succeed. That's what I would do. So he has a place as an ex-governor to help, direct, advise, but I don't know about fighting.
Very interesting, your assessment. What about the crisis within your own party, the APC, or should I say a subsidiary of the PDP in River State, which is called the APC? I mean, the chairman, the court reinstated Emeka Beke, the caretaker chairman, Tonye Okocha, saying he's still in charge. Where do you stand on that?
You know, that's very simple. The court has spoken. I remember going all the way to the Supreme Court, taking challenges in the Supreme Court and not on the pages of the newspaper. Just get up, take your challenge, and that's what the court process is there for. Some people trust the court, some don't, some abuse the court, but it doesn't matter. That is the process. Once we got to the end of the Supreme Court, The Supreme Court had made an announcement. There was no need to fight again. I just got up, came out, said to them, you know what, this is where it is, and I moved on. Tonye has a grouse today. He doesn't take it out with the APC or PDP or whoever. He should go to court and challenge the process there. But as we speak today, APC Rivers State is run by Emeka Beke. His executive is intact. They are the ones who are in charge of APC Rivers, and he's the only one that can speak on APC Rivers. Anybody else speaking is just speaking. It goes nowhere.
Right.
So,
but they said the Okocha group said they've appealed against
so
that
no problem.
decision.
And he has full right to appeal. Nobody can stop him.
But doesn't he remain until the appeal is finished? Because I mean, if he was a governor, for example, the governor would remain in place until the thing is.
You know the operative word you used? You said if. Yeah. He is not a governor. The rules are totally different.
Right.
As we speak right now, he's out of the equation. He can go to court, and let's see what the court will say. But right now, the only voice for APC in Rivers State is Emeka Beke.
And you recognize him as such?
Of course, he was my chairman. He is my chairman. And he's the only one I listen to.
Let's turn to national politics, because you are someone who is pretty large on the political scene. I mean, let's be clear on that. I mean, since President Tinubu took over, and he is in your party, it's been largely pessimism. But particularly in the last few days, we've seen a slight uptick in optimism and hope among some Nigerians following the slight fall in the inflation figures and the marginal growth in GDP, but still great waves of pessimism about the persistence of the cost of living crisis and the fact that those figures have had no impact on soaring prices and deepening poverty. What is your sense of the mood currently about where things are headed in Nigeria, both as a member of the APC and as a businessman yourself?
Okay. A couple of years ago, I was at the World Economic Forum. Nigeria's GDP was rebased, and we became the largest economy in Africa. And I remember meeting a finance minister at that time to ask the question that we have become the largest economy, and yet people are dissatisfied. Why? Why aren't people happy and excited? Why is it not translating? And to answer your question, what they said then persists today. He said the fact that you are the largest economy, if it does not translate to something that you can feel in your pocket directly, in your stomach directly, and in your welfare directly, then it's just numbers. It means absolutely nothing to anyone. And so the GDP can go up, the inflation can come down in numbers. If it does not begin to translate to a little bit more money to spend, a little bit more money to save, a little bit more to do, and an easier ability to get a job, easier ability to set up a business, then it's just numbers. So nobody will dispute that the numbers may or may not be correct. Frankly, to the average Nigerian illustrator, doesn't give a damn about those numbers. What he's interested in, what she's interested in is how will they help now? How is it translating to my pocket? And that we have to simplify the economics to that. This GDP that it has happened, this number, this shift, it means this to you, the taxi driver. It means this to you, the groundnut seller. If you cannot translate it, you're talking grammar.
Right. So basically, your sense then is that the APC, which is your party, really does not, shouldn't be touting those figures as a measure of sort of the achievements of the president.
I wouldn't
and
put
the
it
fact
that
that things are starting to
I wouldn't put it that way.
progress.
What I would say is figure out how this is translating to the average man and speak the language of the average man. You know, poverty has absolutely no face. North, South, Christian, Muslim, none.
Absolutely.
The suffering the hunger that we see does not care which religion or which tribe you come from. The only thing that anyone wants to hear right now is just basic English or language about how it translates to me better. So as a government, APC government, of which that's my party, my advice is very simple. Translate economic numbers to the reality of the words that we speak. Simplify it. Just simplify it. How does it affect you? And how are you feeling it? Such that they can say, oh, you know what? That's true. Yesterday, I bought bread for 10 naira. Today, I'm buying it for 9 naira. That makes a difference. But if it's not translating like that, you haven't reached them yet.
I agree. Let me return to you, because you're a very interesting character, especially with that fedora.
I don't know.
With that fedora perched
Is
on
that
your
a
head.
good thing?
You're not quite sure, eh?
Go ahead.
But, I mean, you went through quite a stormy governorship campaign. I mean, I remember the stress that I saw you going through, and as you tried to kind of walk a straight line, and you know, things were constantly being thrown in your path. I mean, upon reflection, would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason being, you know, between then and now, Charles, you would not believe the number of people who have come to say that you gave us hope. We had completely dissociated with the policy of Nigeria, politics of Nigeria. But the mere fact that you stayed, you continued, you fought against everything we see. And they say, you know what? The person you are fighting with, my goodness, that man, no problem. That's not the point. But that you stayed. And that resilience, persistence, it shows, it picks up. You don't know how many people were encouraged. And if I can encourage one more person and another person who will come in and say that, you know what, let's make a difference. We're just building these foundational blocks. So I build a bit more. Somebody else, another generation may come and build a bit more. Eventually, we will get this thing right. I have no doubt about it.
But are you convinced that you lost that election?
Oh, no, I didn't lose the election, but that's fine. That's another story for another day. But again, what I know is that the reality is that the Supreme Court handed over the results of the election to Fubara, and that's fine. He's the governor, I'm not. It's okay. We've moved on. That was yesterday's story. There's another battle ahead, so we face tomorrow.
And what is the battle tomorrow?
The battle is that we have to take over. We have to take back this country. We have to take back our state. We have to bring sanity into the politics of Rivers State. We have to make sure that people begin to believe that they are a part of government, they are a part of governance. We have to make people believe that they are part of the solution and not just part of the problem. I think people have to begin to believe in their political leaders. They have to begin to believe in their business leaders. They have to believe in their spiritual leaders. There's something that is going on right now that is really worrying. You have Muslims who are no longer listening and believing to what their ulamas are saying. You have Christians that no longer want to hear and believe what their pastors are saying. It's a very dangerous line that we are towing.
But it could also be, some would argue, a line of spiritual revolution. I mean, it's like the Reformation in Europe, where they stopped listening to the Catholic pronouncements, and the Protestantism was born. I mean, that is a revolutionary thing that perhaps those people need to free themselves.
And fair enough. But when you're freeing yourself, or let's assume that this is a freedom from religious
orthodoxy, control.
So let's assume that that is the case. And that has been one of the tools that politicians have used in Nigeria. So religion is a very powerful mix. So let's assume that they're freeing themselves. Okay, if they free themselves from religious orthodoxy, you said, what are they following? And you see, not putting an alternative that leads to progress in Nigeria is a dangerous thing. And so some very rational voices have to be there for them when they come. There's nothing like a vacuum. So if your religious leaders were guiding you in a particular way and you now say, you know what, I'm not going this way. So which way are you going? somebody and something has to be an alternative that is credible. And believe me, as God is my witness, we must give them a credible alternative. And that's why we're there. We must be that alternative.
And on that note, I want to thank you very much.
It's over already?
I'm afraid so. It was really nice talking with you and having the benefit of your assessment of what is going on in Rivers State as well as in Nigeria. Very, very interesting and very illuminating. Tonye Cole is a businessman. He was the APC governorship candidate in Rivers State in the 2023 election. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Charles. Time flies.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye and thank you for watching.